we're going to look at a few of the hand percussion instruments. And again, there's so many, but here are a few of the primary instruments. I'm going to start off with what we call concussion instruments. And it doesn't mean I'm going to hit my head on the board and pass out. But concussion instruments are instruments where there's things that hit each other. And that's what makes the sound. So real typical example would be something like this rattle, the seed pod rattle, where everything's hitting together and it's making the sound. And I really like this sound. It reminds me of the beach or something, you know? A little nut sound. So something like that, which would probably be worn around the ankle. In fact, this comes out like that, so you wear it around your ankle and you could dance, you know, and have a rhythm going like that. Here's a similar one. I like to play these you can play rhythms this way, or you can do what we call a caressing kind of movement, or a sustained sound. So if we want a little effect, you know. And there's all sorts of instruments like that. There's one made of goat toenails, not the toes. You didn't know goats get mani-pedis? They get mani-pedis at the petting zoo, but then they get mani-pedis. Okay. This is goat toes. Here's one I made out of bottle caps. Bottle cap rattle. And here's a little, actually this is for your ankle, wear around your ankle. This is just little bells. That's relating to the metal sound, so I'll talk more about that in a second. Other kinds of concussion instruments is the rattle, a hachi or hachi. This, or sometimes called afouché, but any kind of rattle that has beads or shells on the outside would fall into that category. And you just shake it. So if you use a flicking motion, similar to this kind of downward motion, and you notice it's the same motion as using a stick and tapping a drum. So it's the same motion. It's just that we're replacing the stick with the instrument. So this is a way to get a precise sound, and up and down rather than this way, because this is harder. This one's pretty tight, so it's okay, but sometimes it gets a little wishy-washy if you're going sideways as opposed to down. You can also hold on to the strings and move the string, or you can hold on to the strings and move the bottom part, whatever you want to do. You could twist it, get another, right? And that, of course, relates to the Cabasa, which I don't have here at the moment, but we have another instrument called the Cabasa. You can do that. You could tap on it, which is a really nice sound, really great sound. So all sorts of things. Tap it on your leg, you know, on your thigh. All sorts of ways to play the rattle. Related to the rattle is the shekere. So this is a shekere. Shekere is a big version. And the shekere is a gourd that's had the top cut off, hollowed out, so it's a little resonant. It's a little hard to hear, but you can hear the ring of the gourd if you listen carefully. And we play the shekere by holding it loosely in our fingers, very loosely, and it's almost like I'm going to toss it back and forth. So just watch my hand up here. I'm very loose, very, very light touch. I can do accents with my heel, the heel of my hand. So really nice, fun rhythms. Tapping as well. I like to hold it like this sometimes and just whatever you want to do. Or another way to adapt it would be to just do this. So for example, I could have one hand with the dundun stick playing a dundun, and I can have the other hand with the shekere, play both together, and I've got a really full grounding, you know, rhythm, high and low together. So the same goes for the rattle, so that you can use them that way. All kinds of maracas here. I've got different shapes of maracas, but a maraca is like the rattle, but instead of the things being on the outside, they're on the inside. So same idea. I like to use that little flicking motion. It helps kind of control it. You can play it this way, or either palm. But really, you just need to flick the handle. This is an adaptation. I made this. I got a pool noodle, and I put a little, kind of like a kashishi rattle. It's got a combination of bottle caps and shells inside. And I just stuck it in this pool noodle so that it makes it easy for people, like older adults, or people that can't close their hand all the way. It makes it easy for them to hold. So you could do that too. Just get any of these little maracas and you stick it in there. It just makes it easy for people to grasp. So that's something you could try. Other thing that's like the maracas is the kashishi. Kashishi is a basket shaker. It's got a piece of gourd or sometimes a piece of metal. This is from the top of a tin can or some kind of can. You know, usually recycled materials. This has got a piece of gourd, which is like the shekere, and a basket and some rocks or beans or shells inside. And so you can hold it this way with the handle pointing up, and then rotate your wrist. You can play it that way. We got soft sound, loud sound. This way. You can shake it and then turn it to get a sound. Play two together. Okay, really fun instrument. Kashishi. Other things we have up here, typical, just your average shaker. This is a tube shaker, also called ganza in Brazil, sometimes, or shokayo, just means shaker, so I'll just call it a shaker. There's so many different kinds of shakers. So here's a pear, that's a shaker. There's a little ball. Here's egg shakers. So all sorts of shakers, but the technique's the same. You're gonna hold your hand out, fingers away from you, thumb towards you, and pretend you've got a little Italiano. And you're gonna hold the shaker like this in your fingers, and then you just back and forth this way. A little elbow movement, a little bit of wrist movement, but just very gentle, very, very small range of movement, actually. And then you can accent by adding a little bit of oomph to it. So typical shaker rhythm would be gata, 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 gata. One teacher said we should say the word cacophony, 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 cacophony. I'm not sure that's what we want to be chanting, but it works for the shaker technique. I haven't thought of another word that works as well as cacophony.
Victoria.
For Victoria, 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 Victoria. There we go. All right, so that's shaker technique, but try, experiment with that, have fun with it. This is another instrument. All right, so this, you can call this bizansara or Coco Rico. And this instrument's another concussion instrument. It's got lots of slats of wood and they clack together. You can hold it with one hand, you can do that, or you can hold it this way. I don't think there's any right or wrong way to play it, just figure out how you want to play it. But two hands maybe gives you a little more control. All right, so that's really fun. Another instrument, Hawaiian origin, although this isn't the traditional instrument, but it's a similar sound, would be the puili, or what are sometimes puili sticks. These are actually bundled sticks, bundled bamboo. The traditional puili would be one piece of bamboo that's cut, it's got slats cut in it. And, oh, there's some right here?
Yeah, in the holder. Right there, you got your hand.
Oh, here. Oh, yay. Okay, so I'll show you the puili. So these are really similar instruments. So they've got their own case, beautiful bag. So these would be the puili. So you see it's bamboo that's been cut, and now you have that sound. So traditional Hawaiian Polynesian instrument, very nice. And then something that you could make, and I made these were handmade, just, you know, go down to the garden store and you get garden stakes and you cut them and you wrap them up and you get a bundled stick sound. So just another instrument you can make easily. So moving on, we've got an ancient instrument. This is Egyptian instrument and African, North African, and this one uses bottle caps that have been flattened out. This is called the sistrum. Sistrum is a rattle. And I really like this sound, especially if you keep it kind of loose. It can be like a sustained sound, a jingly sound, or a more of a percussive rhythmic sound, or play it this way. There's all kinds of sistrums, very nice sound, gentle sound, but very friendly, and related to the bottle cap rattle. And the sistrum, along with the frame drum, which is also the ancient Egyptian instrument, they had this, and they had this, and now we have this, right? Oh. So that's where this came from, is the frame drum with the jingles on it. So now we have the tambourine. And of course, most cultures around the world now have some form of the tambourine. It could be India, it could be America, Italy, Greece, China, of course, Asian countries. We all have drums with jingles on them. And so the tambourine, there's many ways to play it. This is a headless tambourine. So it kind of is interesting because they went from the sistrum to the drum with jingles, and then they said, well, we don't need the drum head all the time. I guess we could take one off. So now we have the headless drum with the jingles. So, so this would really be more of a metallic instrument than a drum, of course, right? Even though the tambourine is in the drum category, but is it? Because it doesn't have a head, so now I don't know where to put it. But it's a metal rattle sound. So you can just shake it like that. It's really great to hold. You can tap. Any of these instruments that you can give to somebody where they can hold the instrument steady, and then play with their other hand, tapping, is a nice place to start with it. Then they'll have more control, because the other option, and sometimes people will do this, is they'll try to tap the instrument on their hand, which you can do, but it tends to produce a lot of extra sound, and it's heavy. I mean, you're moving the instrument up and down. So what I recommend is that you encourage people to have a holding hand and a playing hand. So because sometimes you can try both together, but see, then I'm coordinating two things instead of just one. So you can hold it like this and get a little more precision, and it's not as hard as moving the instrument around. However, if you do move the instrument around, there's some things you can do that are really fun. So you can play like this. You can play this way, twisting. You can play this way. Right? So all kinds of things you can do. But before you're done playing the tambourine, make sure you always wave goodbye. All right.